Hey now Brawlers, today we're going to take a look at We Didn't Playtest This at All from Asmati Games. Now, as the name implies, this is a humorous filler game. It's really not meant to be taken that seriously. It's a card game, but it's really just draw a card, play a card, and all the cards have these wacky things on them. And a lot of them are really tongue-in-cheek, kind of funny, very, very random, and there's been some expansions that just add to that randomness. But despite all that randomness, despite it being, kind of a joke, I'm not above playing humorous games. Is it actually a good game? Well, let's go ahead and do a brief overview. Very brief, because there's not a lot to it. Then we're going to come back. I'll tell you what I think. Okay, I'm going to give you a very brief overview of We Didn't Playtest This at All. The goal of the game is to win the game. If you don't win the game, you have lost. That's about it. How this is going to work is you'll decide who's going to go first, and on your turn, you're going to draw a card, and you're going to play a card. You'll do whatever the card says, then it goes to the next person, assuming that person's still in the game. You're going to keep going around like this until one person is clearly the winner. I just described the entire game, but just for the hell of it, I'll show you what some of the cards do anyways. So, you'll draw a card, and it might say points. Place face up in front of you. This card is worth plus 8 points. Anyone with plus 15 points wins the game. So this just gave you a win condition, essentially. Now, some of the cards are star cards. These are better than other cards. You just shuffle them right in with the other ones. This one says, no drawing. Place face up in front of you. No player may draw any cards from the deck for any reason. If any player has no cards to play on their turn, they lose the game. So you can see where this is going. Here's another star card. Surprise! Play this card if you just lost when only 2 players were left in the game. You win instead. I could just keep going here, but this is essentially it. Science! If there is a dragon or black hole card in front of you, disbelieve it. Move it in front of any player of your choice. Otherwise, draw 2 cards and feel secure in your superior knowledge. And I'll just show you one more. Bomb! Place face up in front of you and then take another turn. If there are 4 or more bombs face up, they explode and everyone loses. This is the kind of craziness that goes on through the game. But just to make it even more crazy, you have the Chaos Pack that comes in some editions of this game. These cards here never get shuffled in. Instead, you're going to pick one to play with at the start of the game, either by random chance or whatever you want to play with, or you might even choose to do more than one if you want. So let's take a look at some of these. Sudden Death. Anytime a player loses, the player to their left also loses. This does not continue to the player to their left, nor does it cause the last player left in the game to lose. Polite. Every card played must be placed facing the rest of the group so they can read it. Cards initially placed face down ignore this rule. This part of the card was blank, but now it isn't. Skip. If you play a star card during your turn, the next player's turn is skipped entirely. If they attempt to draw a card to start their turn, they lose. Alphabet-tacular. Before you draw a card in your turn, you must name a letter of the alphabet. It must be the letter that comes before the one the last player said. B wraps to Z, and the first player may choose any letter. By the way, skip vowels. All right. That is We Didn't Playtest This at All. No, seriously, that's it. Now, I'm certainly not above playing a dumb game that doesn't have a lot of strategy to it, that's very simple, easy to play, and very fast. I think maybe Cards Against Humanity is the greatest example of that in my collection. Just really dumb, it's just there to have fun with it. And, We Didn't Playtest This at All does have some of that. The first time that you play it, it's going to be really ridiculous and you're going to laugh a lot. Like, there's a lot of, really quirky, snarky humor on the cards, and it really comes across. But the thing is, that's part of the problem, is that even Cards Against Humanity is still a game. I mean, there's some mechanics to it. It's just very, very light, but there can still be a winner. Believe it or not, I actually take some small sense of accomplishment from having the most points at the end of a game of Cards Against Humanity, or at least, showing up, having a few points. But if We Didn't Playtest This at All, there really is none of that. I would call this less of a game and more of an experience, because you're just there to have the joke and see what ridiculous way that the game is going to end this time, whether it's because there's too many bombs and it blows up, or it just says everyone who didn't, touch their nose at the same time that you did is also, out of the game, and you might win that way. These things are fun and they're funny, but they're not fun. They're not funny. No, they are fun and funny, but it's just there's just not a lot there. This isn't a game that I could pull out to kill some time every week after week, the way I could with a game like Love Letter or Sushi Go or so many other light card games that I have, because it's just eventually, once you've gone through some of the jokes and experienced them, it sort of loses its edge. It's not as fun as it used to be. So I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud here. I totally get what the team there at Asmodee, or maybe it's just Chris Chislik, the designer, I understand what they were going for with this, certainly, and I do get the humor, and it is funny. It's just not funny for a long period of time. And so it's not one that I'm going to be holding on to, but if for what it is, for the price of it, this is a game that, if for very, very casual gamers, I think that they can enjoy it, at least get a little bit of mileage out of it. And who knows, if you can play it 5 to 10 times, maybe you'll get your money's worth. But it's just not going to be, the replayability is not there. And you probably have some better options if you do want something that's like a party or light filler game that's going to last you consistently. But you just need to take this one at face value for what it's worth and then move on. My name is Nick, this has been Board Game Brawl, and I'm reminding you to get out there and game every day and in every way. Take care.